Right folks, today we are reviewing the NTR rod from a brand new and exciting brand, Dave.
New kid on the block.
Yeah, NYTRO. Now, I know Tommy Pickering's been banging on these for a bit, or banging on about these.
Banging on.
Banging on about them and banging on them for a bit, and he tells me great things. Now, interestingly, what Wickersley have picked out for us to review this month is not their flagship model. In fact, it's the cheapest model in the range.
Do you think that they don't trust us with the expensive stuff?
Probably is, yeah. They probably don't trust us with the expensive. Probably see how we get on with that cheap rod, and then we'll go down from there. But the NTR 10-foot commercial carp feeder. We've seen these in the shops for $34.99, or certainly from nearly everywhere for less than 40 quid anyway. 3 in the range, 9-foot, 10-foot and 11-foot. What do you reckon so far, my old?
I think, personally, you've got to look at... I suppose I've got the benefit of age, Tom.
Well, it has been commented on before.
And I remember when I was a wee slip of a lad, I had... Dio used to do a range called Sensor, I think it was.
I was Sensor,
and
yes.
I think they were sort of like, budget range, aimed at the junior section, and beginners. And I remember back then that they were 30 quid.
Yeah.
Well, this is the same price now, 30 years on, probably more, maybe even more.
So 30 quid then, realistically,
Yeah.
and not just taking aside, what would that be, like 50, 60 quid now?
Yeah, I think so. And they weren't a patch on these rods. Now, first impression, obviously you've had a good look at it. I mean, first of all, they look nice.
Lovely.
They do look nice, in all fairness. And if you imagine, this range is obviously aimed at whether it be your juniors, beginners, what have you. But ultimately, and we'll talk about reels and stuff later, but you can probably get set up with a rod and a reel here for around 60, 70 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? And it doesn't look out of place. Hopefully we're going to catch some fish on it and you'll see that it performs.
It would be actually, yeah, for the reel, which we'll cover in a separate video, but it would be 60 quid for the two, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's good. And for any, youngster, or, I keep using youngsters because really that's the kind of market. But even for a beginner, it's someone who doesn't want to spend, but they want a couple of rods, a couple of reels.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with your money with this. But the key for me is you could have these set up on the bank. And anybody walking past wouldn't go, oh, that's some cheap looking rods.
To be honest, in terms of looks, it's absolutely class, isn't it? We've got the embossed or engraved, or whatever you want to call it, NYTRO in the neoprene of the handle, dual neoprene and cork on the handle.
There's a lot of little features, a lot of little aesthetic features, isn't there?
It looks like it's worth a lot more than it is.
Yeah.
In terms of purely aesthetic looks, of course. The action, I'll come on to in a minute, when you've bagged me a lovely carp, which I think you're going to based on how that tip's bouncing around.
There's a few little indications there, isn't there? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on it, and yeah, was that on?
That's on, I think, Dave.
That's on, I think, Tom.
Tell you what, Pat, you're good, aren't you?
I'm not bad.
You really
It's
are.
only a little tiddler, it's shaking his head.
Could be one of the new stockies here at Western Pools.
Yeah, shouldn't be short of bites today, should we?
Tell you what, we have set landing it up. I would then. I made the cardinal sin of not set
Tom,
landing
it's
it.
all right. I was fishing director today. I just left you to your sound stuff.
Get some bend in it. Show me a bit of bend.
So that's not bad, is it? That's a nice.
What's that, mid-action, would you say? Or is it through
Yeah, I
action?
mean, it's not a big fish, but you can see it's giving it some there, look.
Yeah, I'd say mid-action. That's one thing that did strike me when I looked at it. It's a long distance, or it seems longer than normal, between the reel seat and this first eye. I don't know
Well,
whether
and
that's...
second eye, there's probably between the reel seat and the second eye, there's got to be a metre and a bit.
Yeah, metre and a half.
It's a lot. Now, how that affects, I think if we had a big carp under our rod tip, then we'd see how that affects that. But actually looking at it, I can't see how it's affecting it at the moment.
Is it? Look.
It's not a long range, at 10 foot, it's not a long range casting rod, so that's not a.
It's got a nice action on it.
Got that
I
little-
don't feel it's not. I mean, that was a small fish on a cruder rod. That would have bounced off, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And these F1s are synonymous for bouncing off, aren't they?
They are.
Mind you, what a beautiful look.
Tell you what, the
Fat
stock
devil there, look at that.
absolutely gorgeous, aren't they? And that's one of the F1s. I can't wait for you to catch one of the little commons or mirrors that are in here, because they are absolutely stunning.
Little beauty. So yeah, so it handled that all right. So yeah, so first impression, obviously it looks the part. It's sort of got all the little features, that you'd expect with any modern rod these days. It's got a little hook up ring just by the reel there, so you can, when you're not fishing, you can just hook your hook onto the rod there. Everything looks right. I think, as ever, when the devil is in the detail.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to the finer points, that's when
Yeah.
you notice the price difference.
Yes. Yeah. I think
That's
we've got a
nice.
cup of coffee
I'll tell you
being
what,
delivered to the peg. This is
Western
great.
Pools
This is
hospitality.
Western Pools. Look after us better than anybody. Debbie, thank you very much. I'll grab the coffees, Dave. I'll be back.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you very
lovely.
much.
Thank you, Debbie.
Are you back in yet?
No.
Look at that for hospitality, me old. Oh, and I tell you what, it might be. I mean, you might say you take all the credit for it, but from what I've seen, it casts beautifully as well, doesn't it? No problem there.
Yeah, I mean, a car's only as good as the driver, isn't it, Tom?
Well,
You know what I mean?
I was waiting for you to say that. But,
No, it is. Like I say, it feels like 10 foot. It's a lovely range we're fishing for that sort of distance. And it does, you know, it's good for that. So what I was saying about the devil is in the detail.
Yes.
So where are we finding the difference between this and a mid to top end rod? What have you noticed?
Well, the first thing is obviously that distance there. Now, how much difference that makes remains to be seen, but I personally feel obviously the more guide you have on a rod, the more expensive it is, but also generally the more forgiving it is, because obviously it's attaching the line to the blanks at key points and you're getting more action out of the blank, aren't you? Obviously to a point. The other thing with it, I thought the beveling on the eyes, the sort of way the eyes are attached onto the tip in particular, was a little bit bulky.
Yeah, it was the first thing I noticed with the tips was there's quite a lot of varnish blobbed on it, few inconsistencies. It's got the look of a very quickly made rod, if that's fair or mass produced. I don't know, but then you've got to understand that at $34.99, it's got to be economical to make, hasn't it? And that means it needs to be made en masse. And you know, and in all fairness, we've seen some mass-produced rods that don't look half as good as this. So,
no, exactly.
I'll be honest. I until I looked at the price tag, I was a little bit, well, that doesn't, you know, like looking really.
Yeah. If I told you that was 120 quid, you maybe would have been.
I'd be keen. But actually, I just see a lot of positives with this. I love the, you know, we have reviewed. Is budget the right word to use for it?
I think it is, yeah.
We've reviewed budget
It's 34 quid.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you get for 34 quid nowadays in a tackle shop, you know?
But I think
two spools of elastic, or
of
three
the
spools anyway.
of the budget range that we've looked at recently. This is brilliant, and I love it. I love the fact that manufacturers are doing this, Tom. We've got to attract more people in. We've got to make it affordable. We've got to be saying to them, to a parent at Christmas, well, my son and my daughter has asked for a fishing rod and reel. How much? If you say to them, "Oh, you're going to need 200 quid," they're going to go, "Well, we haven't got that money to spend." 60, 70 quid. You're in the game, aren't you?
Yeah, rod and reel for 60 quid.
Yeah. And
it takes some knocking.
And it might, obviously, these companies rely on sales. So there's got to be a sort of a marketing element to it as well, and a profitability to it. But ultimately, the key is to attract those customers who in 10 years' time are going to be buying the top end of the range stuff.
And the thing I like about what NYTRO have done with this is they've come in with a very clear, positive game plan. Now,
what do we know about NYTRO?
Right, so there's a company called Sonic Sports who are based in the northeast of England, Northumberland area, and they did very, very well in the carp world. And again, from what people tell me, their brand reputation in that area is very much about good quality at affordable prices, if you know what I mean. They've got some top-end stuff in the ranges, but it's very much about tackle that obviously anglers want to use, so it's affordable, etc. And they've taken the same ethos into the NYTRO brand. Now, I watched a little intro video with Pascal, who's had a lot to do with it, and I've heard, by the way, that Pascal was a very influential man and a very good man at Preston Innovations in the setup there.
Pascal doesn't sound like a very Northumberland name to me, Tom.
No, absolutely. He's had a lot to do with the development of the Preston brand and the sort of way that's moved forward in Europe.
So he's an industry man then?
He is an industry man, and he's come and took on NYTRO, and I watched an intro video with him, and he was sort of saying on that how for this year they're targeting, or working should I say, on primarily feeder fishing, and then they're going to roll out into other areas later. So they've not tried to take on the world and done everything at once. They've maybe thought more they're going to do a few things right and then develop from there.
And isn't feeder fishing a brilliant place to start at the moment? The way the world is at the moment, feeder fishing is on a an upward trajectory. And if you can get into that market and get it right, and obviously we're looking at these rods, but this is part of a range that goes up and up, isn't it? And I know they've got some big names on board now, and obviously I'd be keen to see the top of the range stuff. But it is part of a range of rods, isn't it? It's quite comprehensive what they've done. Like I say, they've concentrated on that. But is there four different ranges?
I think there was three or four.
Yeah.
The Horizons were one of them. The NTRs. I think there was one in between, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But as you say, we're looking at this one. This is the cheapest one. The 9 foot in the range, you can get some places for $29.99. 10 foot, $34.99. I think the 11 foot's about 40 odd quid, depending on where you go.
Do you think, looking at it, because I noticed a few things, do you think there's a bit of familiarity about it?
Absolutely. It's the design features which are familiar, shall we say, with other brands.
Yeah.
But I've seen that before with lots of other manufacturers. If somebody gets a good idea in this game, Dave, it's copied, isn't it? Let's face it. That's
so do you think it's been designed to maybe look similar to something else to get to capture that audience, or is it? It's not copied, is it? It's not a blade.
No,
I'm not saying these people have copied this. I'm just saying that there's quite a few little things, whether it be logos, things like that just remind me of something. And is that clever marketing, or is it just a sheer coincidence?
It's clever marketing, absolutely. I think if I was in their shoes and I saw something, I thought to myself, "Oh, them rods look nice with a little band of colour halfway down the butt section." I think I'd be inclined to put a band of. That one might be on again. What do you reckon?
I don't know. It's gone slack, Tom. Has it gone? No, I don't know.
It knocked it down the slope.
Just give it a little nudge, I think, Tom.
No, I think it's good, isn't it? If you see a good idea, as long as you don't take somebody's logo and blatantly copy it or anything like that. But we all know, there's constantly is patent battles going on in the fishing trade, and seeing how close certain brands can get to concepts that other brands have come up with, and it's just the nature of the tackle trade, Dave, and it has been for years, I'm afraid.
Do you know what amazes me? We're talking about the little features and that for such an inexpensive rod, or I class it as inexpensive, is how many just little things. So we've got these two bands. You've got Duplon, cork Duplon, NYTRO etched in the Duplon there. You've got these little steel bands or whatever they are here. You've got a little logo there. You've got a logo on the end of that. I mean, there's a lot of features. I mean, I don't know anything about the manufacturing side of it, how much extra those little bits cost. But the fact they've gone to the effort to put those things in on such a price rod, and I assume that's got the same on all their rods, right through. But it's it's incredible what we're getting for our money these days.
That's got to be on, hasn't it?
Have a look at that one, shall we, Tom?
Oh, I think so. Well, that's two fish for you. I think it's only fair. Let me have a little chuck now when you've landed this one and see if I can catch one. What do you reckon?
Really? You don't have a go, do you?
We're only at one of my favourite venues today, so it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
But you don't want to. You've got matches and festivals coming up, Tom. You don't want to. Do you? Oh, I've pulled that.
Oh, you see, I definitely need to have a go.
Right, you can have a go.
As Kurt Cobain once said, it's better to burn out than fade away, my old pal.
Yeah, but what happened to Kurt Cobain?
He burnt out, bless him.
Oh, right, okay.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Certainly didn't fade away, did he?
No.
Right,
you could say he blew it.
Bless him, you could. Let's have a bash.
Right, you have a sit here, Tom.
Well, Tom.
Didn't take you long.
Well, it's coming towards me, Dave, quite fast this one, obviously.
Succumbed to your charms.
It has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's another one of those lovely little Belvedere stockies, but I'm going to just put the anti-reverse off just in case, because I know. Oh, it's gorgeous little fish. Is it cruising? It's not.
It's going to be good to catch them, isn't it?
Oh, lovely.
So many fish like that in here, isn't there?
But again, I think really that's where a soft rod comes in, because we're a harsh rod. They're the sort of fish that you bump off, aren't they?
Especially the way you strike.
You've got to give it to them, even on the method.
Bottom lip, look at that. That's perfect. That is, Tom. It must be.
Yeah, it turned, and it turned in its mouth.
Beautiful little fish. That. Look at that fin on that.
Absolutely.
Love crucians.
Gorgeous, aren't they?
Sorry, I digress there, Tom. What's So yeah, I mean, we're plopping a method. How far is that? 20 metres?
18 to 20 metres, me old. I'm saying.
I'll say 20.
You say 20. I say 19.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not awkward, Pop.
No. Right. So 20 metres. We're on with a 10-foot rod, which would happen on a lot of venues up and down the country, like little snake lakes, those sorts of places. We're catching an array of size fish. Hopefully you're going to catch us a big carp in a minute.
Be nice.
But it's performing well. It's casting, you're hitting the clip, it's all in control.
Yeah, I think
very usable, isn't it?
I think it is very usable, Dave. It's for the money. I think it's faultless. I'm going to say that. I mean, we've obviously picked up some things that you could improve on the higher end rods. What would be interesting to see, and hopefully we'll get the chance, is whether they are improved on the more expensive rods. You know, the few imperfections with the varnishing.
Yeah. And I say, when we say about the imperfections, they're very tiny imperfections, but they're signs to me of a rod that's made fast or
absolutely,
you know, cheaply, if you like. So you're going to get that, but I think it's, you know, at that price.
Oh, that was a bit short, mate. Clip the tree, graze the tree there.
Tom. Just grazed it. Let's try a shorter cast shot.
Oh yeah, I mean that was.
That was what you're aiming for, obviously.
Yeah. Obviously, no, it's how it is, isn't it?
Is it true they call you the Scud?
I've been called worse.
After the missile, because you're always within a mile of your target.
I've been called worse. Right, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Oh,
are you ready?
I'm ready for this, Tom.
This is 34.99. We've seen this for. Last review, we tested the Guru A class rods, which are a little bit more. From memory, what were they? Were they 50, 60 quid?
They were just under 60 quid, I think. Yeah. But don't quote me.
Yeah, we'll put it on screen now anyway, how much they are. So, I mean, really, it's a significantly more, actually, isn't it? It's nearly half as much again, really. Yeah. Or a bit more than half as much again, should I say. Is it worth that step up? Is it how much better were the A-class rods than this rod? Do you think they were better for a start?
I felt there was. I think with the A-class rods, I was looking for imperfections, and I didn't find many. No. With this one, I was looking for imperfections, and I found a few, but nothing serious. So I think there was a difference.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at, I don't know why, Tom. I keep putting myself in the mind. Say this is the scenario I'm thinking. Right, I'm thinking I'm an up and coming junior match angler.
Yeah.
Right. I'm still at school.
Yeah.
I've only got so much to spend, but I know I need a good bomb rod, a little method rod.
Yeah.
And I know I can get both of those rods for 70 quid.
Yeah. It's good value, isn't it?
And I don't look out of place. I'm not going to be embarrassed.
Well, you would look out of place, but the rods wouldn't.
In the junior championships. With my hat on that. but no, what I mean is, I say there is what you wouldn't want is for a junior to then go and fish an open match on Western, say, and turn up with these rods, and people go and him be embarrassed of those rods because they're not as good as the, you know. And I think that's, you know, that these are all little cogs that matter in attracting newcomers to our sport, but also giving them the right equipment to go forward with, and I genuinely believe that I could buy, you or I could have a couple of these rods set up on the bank and no one would bat an eyelid, Tom.
I think they're quite nice. I really do.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, you know, price is important, and maybe it's just about structure of company and product range, because Guru, their top of the range is top of the range.
Oh, it's
very
quid,
expensive.
Yeah.
So a 60 quid rod is actually, that's a big statement, and you know, so I think it's each to their own, isn't it? It's
absolutely no. So I'd agree. Lovely rods for the money. And
I just want to put all those little the picky things that I've talked about and we've talked about and seen. I want to put it all to one side and go, yeah, bang on.
Yeah.
That I don't want to say anything more about it, that it's anything negative about it, because I think it's brilliant.
Well, yeah, as you say,
what they're bringing to the market is brilliant.
And let's face it, Dave, we're going to be out with some more expensive rods from this company over coming months, and what will be the real acid test is how good they are for the money. But that, for the money, absolutely lovely, I'm saying.
It's brilliant, and I think I'm going to win the junior championship with it. Can you catch me a proper carp on it?
I think we should.
We need a proper carp on it. I want to see it really bend.
So we took it the same place again?
Yeah, just keep going for a while. It's early in the day yet.
Early in the day, Paul.
An absolute fantastic combo we've got in the shop at the moment is the new NYTRO range. They do 2 or 3 different ranges of rods and reels, but the one I've picked out myself is the 10-foot commercial NYTRO and the 3000 reel. Now, if you've only got 60-70 quid to spend on a combo, come and definitely have a look at these two new NYTRO products. NYTRO is a brand new company which is only just basically coming out in England, and over the next couple of years it's going to be fantastic as a company. But the 10-foot feeder rod, we call them feeder rods because you can use them for feeder fishing, you can use them for method feeder fishing, you can use them for any kind, bomb fishing. But if you're definitely after a nice little combo, just something to keep in your ready rod Odo, which might only get used once or twice a year on certain pegs on commercials, fishing down it into corners or what, and you're after some bigger carp or what have you, come and have a look at the combo of the NYTRO 10-foot rod and the 3000 reel.